All right, let's kick this thing off. Okay, so this week I saw a couple news articles. I want to run by you guys, get your thoughts on it. Okay.
Let's hear it.
So we've all heard of Chat GPT.
What is it?
Oh, come on, get out of here.
That's all everyone's talking about these
The
days.
world's ending. It's taking over.
AI is taking over the world.
They're going to get so smart that we're just toast.
Did you know that's what they said about the tractor? When the tractor first got released, it was all like, "Oh, the tractor is going to end all the jobs, take over the world." It just created more
It's
jobs.
just called innovation. Yeah, you
It
just
just
got to
changes
adapt.
the job landscape, doesn't it?
So I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. So this particular article, it's titled "Chat GPT's anti-cheating technology could still let many students fool their teachers." So the whole premise of the article is Chat GPT comes out, right? It's an AI-based technology that scrapes the web and can really, based on how good you are at prompting it, write anything for you that you need. So we've all been in high school. Everyone listening to this and watching this has been in high school.
And we've tried college.
Yeah, we all tried college.
We're all college dropouts.
Dropout.
Barely past high school.
If Chat GPT came out when you guys were in high school, what are the chances, 0 to 100, you would use it on every single one of your assignments?
100%.
I would not have done one assignment.
There's no way.
My viewpoints, it's like just use your tools. You'd be dumb not to use it.
Yeah, exactly.
But in a way, you know
Right?
what I'm saying?
Even in like art class, because they have the AI art, you can literally do
Yeah,
anything you want.
yeah, right. If you did the AI art, your teacher would come and be like, "Hi, it's
savant."
me." Yeah, yeah.
They pulled out a piece of paper. Here, draw something on this real quick.
So I have no artistic ability, so that's something I would do, and the teacher would just laugh at me. There's no way it would pass. But
I would use Chat GPT for
Everything.
How many
assignment.
teachers
Everything.
do you
Can it
think
do
know
math?
about Chat GTP though? I think it's pretty few.
I think
No way. I bet
nowadays,
everybody
I bet
knows about
everybody.
No.
no,
You don't
Well,
think?
my wife's sister who's in high school has no idea what AI is. So it's I feel like we know about it because we're in it. It's all we think about. But the majority of high schoolers don't even know what it is.
But you don't think the teacher, like in the faculty rooms, the teachers aren't talking about like, hey, just beware. Some students are starting to use Chat GPT. So if your papers are just like
I bet most
amazing,
people know what it is. I've at least heard of it.
Maybe heard of. I bet teachers, but a lot of high schoolers, unless they're into that like tech stuff.
Dude, if word travels fast, if you heard of a thing that could write your
Yeah.
entire
well,
article
as soon as
or
one student uses
Yeah.
it and gets an
Well,
A.
Yeah,
think
well,
of
did
that.
you hear our friend? He had a college essay, and this is before anyone really knew too much about it. And he just plugged his essay into it and said, "Make this better." Turned it in, got an A.
yeah.
So it's just like,
Well,
And
in
as
this
soon
model,
as he gets an A, you know he's telling his friend and
How to
like
do
he
it.
said, word's gonna
Yeah.
spread.
and this model is even better because it's going to write it in whatever language or type of feeling you want. Like you could say, write me a 500 word article on the Civil War in fifth grader language, and it will
Yeah.
do that, right? It'll spit out whatever you want it to. So that's literally what this article is disputing: is teachers are having a fit over kids, quote unquote, cheating on their assignments. And so this is the question. As I was reading this article, I was
I know where
thinking,
you're going with this.
yeah, is it the kid's fault, and or is it that the schooling system is so dang out of date that they're way behind and they got some
I
catching
think
up
it's
to
the
do?
school's fault. Because think about this analogy. The tractor, right? Because this was, for some reason, they keep bringing up the tractor, that Gary Vee guy. He brings up the tractor
Gary Vee
analogy.
guy. The Gary Vanderchuck.
The Gary Vaynerchuk.
Vaynerchuk.
Vaynerchuk. So think about the tractor example. What if you were in school for farming? Tractor comes out, but you get mad at your students for using the tractor on their farm.
Yeah, you have to go do
You
it by
have
hand.
to do it by hand because that's the way we're taught. But tractor comes
Yeah.
out, you can't use the tractor.
It's cheating.
It's cheating.
Yeah,
So
for
it's like
real.
we have this amazing tool, AI, that just came out. Why would you not teach them how to use the tool instead of resist
like
against
that.
the tool?
I like that a lot. In my opinion, I feel like the school system. That's why I dropped out of college to begin with, because I'm learning nothing. I'm like doing these assignments that my teachers think I don't know why, or there's no premise behind them, and I'm not getting further in my own life. So I ended up dropping out and
Yeah.
I dropped out
became an
too.
entrepreneur. It's the same with the same story with all of you guys.
Yep.
But I just think, like the teachers, they should be teaching kids how to use these new technologies to excel faster in life, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, don't limit them because it's cheating on your essay that you want them to write, which is going to do nothing for that kid. Why do you need to write an essay? ChatGPT can write you an essay.
Yeah. When that's
It's like the calculator thing. Like,
Exactly.
why do I need to learn all? Yes, it's good to know like the basics so you understand how things work. But like, I'm not going to waste all my time and energy learning long division when I can just say, "Hey, calculator, what is this?"
Yep.
That's what Gary Vee said, right? Gary Vaynerchuk, however you want to say
Gary
it.
Vaynerchuk.
The Gary Vee
guy.
guy. No, but he literally had a short I watched the other day, and it just said, hey, why are they still having kids memorize, like, for example,
Honestly,
U.S.
it's wasted.
president?
It
You can literally go, hey,
Hey,
Siri,
Siri.
what's
Oh my
the fifth
gosh.
president of the United States? Boom, there it is right in your hand. But we're spending all this time in school trying to get kids to memorize. And here, okay, so I'm going to go on a rant here.
Let's hear it.
So I hate school.
Amen.
Like,
Amen.
Like, I mean, for real, like, I
Like what
hate
kind
it.
of school? Like all school?
It dep-
or after high school?
Well, for
or
me,
after
for,
elementary?
for me personally, I hate all school, and
Yeah.
here's why. What percentage of kids are visual learners?
I don't know.
I don't either, but like
I bet
I'm
it's
one of
high.
them.
I am too, right?
Well, I'm more of like a
I'm an
visual
experienced. I'm an
hands-on.
experienced learner. An
Yeah.
experienced learner. I have to experience something in order to really know it and feel it and understand it.
So you
Right?
can't listen to a
Yeah.
teacher.
What is school? You sit
It's a
in
lecture.
school from. I mean, how old do you start going to school? I mean, you're what, 5, 6
Yeah.
years old
Yeah.
until you're
No,
18, 19.
3. My 3-year-old's in school.
Yeah, there you go.
Three.
So from 3 to 19, well, at least in 3 they like play games and just like recess time, right?
Yeah.
But for 15, 20 years, you're literally just being talked to. You don't get to
Yeah.
really experience
And
anything.
it's just memorize, take the test. The second you take that
It's
test,
gone.
you know you're forgetting everything,
Everything.
you just
Brain
studied.
dump it.
Brain dump. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
so you're not
What a
learning.
joke.
You're literally, you're already
You're
taking advantage of the
satisfying
system.
what they're trying to force you to do.
Yeah.
That's all.
It's-
And
it's
then,
so messed
like, You
up.
brain dump. So you just wasted all that 12 years of memorizing stuff that you don't even remember what you memorized.
Yeah.
Well, check this out. So my wife went to sales school, right? 4 years of
What's
sales
sales
school.
school?
At
Like
Weber,
a college
Weber State
degree?
University, I think there's 2 or 3 colleges in the whole United States that actually has a sales degree, technical sales. You can go learn how to sell, right? So
Interesting.
she spent obviously 2 years of generals, right? And that's the reason we quit.
Yeah, we made
right?
it through our generals.
Well, one
almost.
I remember I had a 3-hour class sitting there learning about volcanoes and earthquakes and how they form and why. And I'm sitting there thinking like, why do I care?
Unless I'm going into geology.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I don't
I don't
even
need
know
all
this.
I need to know is an earthquake's happening and then run.
like where to run
Get out of the
to.
house.
Yeah.
Go into the
I don't need to know,
door
like,
frame.
everybody
you know?
run, there's igneous rock falling down on
What kind of rock is that? I don't know. It's just
It'll turn into gluteus.
Wow,
Yeah.
look at all this sedimentary
right.
rock.
But so she spends 2 years trying to learn how to sell.
Well,
And-
not even 2 years, because 2 years.
Well,
okay,
2 years
so
of
after
generals and then 2 years of. But like, you should see the classes she was taking. Things like they're not even sales classes. She just wasted 2 years. And I said, babe, if you would have literally left school for 4 straight years and even gotten a job
Door
at a
to
used
door.
car dealership, anything,
Used car.
just sales, and you were to learn sales
in the
from
game.
get in the game, right?
Exactly.
That's why I honestly I can use hate. I hate school. I really
I'm
do.
the same
I can
boat.
use that word.
The biggest waste of time
I do
on the
too.
planet.
I mean, general knowledge great, but I think starting in junior high, you should start helping kids know what they want to do and start down that path of professionalism and really get them into trade schools and things that really benefit them.
And the only argument I could give myself for school is a person that has no idea what they want to do with their life. But even still, you get those people that don't know what they want to do with their lives. They graduate college and then they go take another couple years of school
Yeah.
because they don't know what else to
Exactly.
do. So they're just primed to be in school because they don't know what else to do with their life.
And they're sold on this dream. I don't know, where is this dream sold from? But you're sold on this dream that
The government, dude. I'm telling you.
No,
No, I'm
for
being
real.
for real. It's like
You
go to school,
go to school,
get the piece of
you're gonna
paper,
get a
go get a
job.
job. You'll make
once
80
you
grand.
graduate, all your problems
you're
are
set.
solved. You're done. Your life's on the
Yeah.
way. Do you know how many people we know that
That are-
have gone to school
yeah.
and are just lost in the sauce?
Yeah, they graduated, still don't have a job years later.
They're, okay, what should I do now? I'm gonna go get my master's. Maybe that'll help.
Well, and
no.
they think they love the subject they graduated in, and then they get into the actual. The problem with school too is especially in college, higher education, is let's say I love a certain subject, and I'm going in that as a degree. I've never worked in that field. So learning of the field and working in that field is completely different. Like I
Yeah.
could love science, but then I go get a quote unquote job as a scientist that I might hate because I loved learning about science, but this
Yeah.
specific job is so monotonous and crap that I don't like it at all. I just spent 4 years getting a degree that I can't even use now because I don't love my job. Like
I can't.
Exactly.
I can. Well, to advocate a little bit for it, like one of our business partners and brothers, Cade.
Yeah.
Right. He's the only one of us that actually graduated. What was his degree?
the computer science,
Information
or
systems.
information
Information
system.
system.
Yeah.
So he's like our tech guy. He builds out all of our websites, all our back end stuff.
DudeDeals.com. Check it out.
DudeDeals.com. But he didn't learn any of that stuff in school, but at least he had somewhat of a foundation or
A
understanding of like,
foundation.
hey, this is my problem. How do I solve it? That's like the only thing he's gotten from school. But other than, because he's not using his degree at all for what he's doing for us.
No.
He's having to learn real time, hey, this is my problem. But that skill was probably developed in school, right? Like, this is my problem. How do I solve it? So he's really good. But he's
Yeah.
naturally, that's how
Yeah,
he
But
that
is.
is
I would.
I'm just trying to
Yeah.
figure out a way to advocate.
The only way to
for
advocate it is doctors, lawyers,
Yeah,
where it's like
something you have. Yeah,
informational.
you have to
But
have
for example,
a
in
degree.
our company, if we're going to hire a marketer, if they go to school in marketing, it's almost a negative for me. If
I wouldn't
see that
hire
on their
them.
resume.
I'd rather 1 year of real world experience
I was
versus
like, hey,
a 4-year
show me a
degree.
business you started
Exactly,
and, and grew and
show
scaled.
me how you've marketed. But if you come out of
Totally.
school, because the amount of people I've talked to that graduated
Oh
in
my god,
marketing,
we're gonna go on this rabbit hole. 'Cause I have another thing about that.
So I've talked to a few people that graduated from marketing. I'll throw a few terms at them.
Do you remember
or
the
just
one I
talk
told you
in
about?
general. Yeah, we've talked about a million. And they don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm like, this is basic stuff you need to do every day in business for marketing, and they have no idea what it is. They don't know how to do it. It's like, I would never hire someone like you out of college, because marketing changes every other
Well,
week.
and the thing
and
really
college
does.
is teaching
once
10
once
years
you have
ago.
your degree, they come out of school thinking they know everything.
Yeah, it's an entitlement that they have that
yeah.
degree.
So in our company, we're all like, we all have our little lanes, and my lane happens to be paid traffic. And so I've always, for the past 5 years, I've done paid
7
traffic.
years.
7 years. I've been full time for what, 3 years or something, entrepreneur,
Yeah.
like full time. And one of my buddies, he went to the marketing degree, and he spent all this time in marketing degree, and we're actually in school together. I dropped out. He finished his degree for 4 years. I don't know if he got a master's, but so he graduated, and he comes out of school, and at this point, I've already started, I don't know how many businesses or opportunities and stuff, applying marketing principles, direct response marketing. He gets out of school, comes to me immediately, and starts telling me, hey, you should be doing this and this and this. Like, I have my degree, you should be doing. And I'm like, dude, that's like, out of the 100 things you have to do to make a company work, you're talking about steps 1 and 2. I'm on step 90.
Yeah, and those steps 1 and 2
He
were
doesn't
like
even
5
know-
years ago.
Yeah.
And that's what he's learned in school, step 1 and 2. Step 3 to 100, he doesn't even know that exists. But you
Yeah.
don't know that unless you're just like
In the trenches.
diving
In the
trenches.
trenches. Well, are you done with your rant? Because
I'm done.
I'm about to piggyback on this rant.
It's
even more.
school, baby.
So we went to that Funnel Hacking Live in Florida, a big business convention with a bunch of business leaders that talk about entrepreneurship and stuff. And do you remember that guy brought up the goal of the entrepreneurs are the only way the world's going to move forward, because technology is advancing at such a rate that governments and schools are falling behind
Can't
because
catch
they
up.
take
Can't keep
so
up.
long
Yeah.
to adopt technology, whereas entrepreneurs that are actually in the trenches,
It's
every new
instant.
technology that comes out, it's an instant new tool.
But you have to use it because you're trying to
Exactly.
figure a way to
And
get
it's
trying
ahead.
to
competition. You're
survive.
trying to
Yeah.
get ahead.
Yeah.
If you just like get comfortable with what you've been doing, you're gonna get destroyed. So
Yeah.
It's only going to get, because like the technology exponential growth curve, it's only going to get faster and faster,
Exactly.
changing paces. School's going to be so obsolete in the next, well, it already is now.
do you think
It's
school's
obs-
ever gonna adopt AI?
Do you think school's just going to
No,
stop?
I think so. I watched have you guys heard of Patrick Bet David?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's one of my favorites. So he runs a YouTube channel, Valuetainment, right? He's a beast marketer and just a businessman. He started I think it was an insurance company and sold it to a guy for multiple 8 figures, just a massive company. But he's actually starting a school around entrepreneurship.
Really?
So is
Like online?
Jordan Peterson starting a school
Yeah,
on
his
how
own
to become
school.
a man.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
it's
seriously
gonna
though,
be a
'cause so
beast.
here's
We
where I
need
feel
that.
bad. So anyone listening or watching this that is, I would probably say what, 40 to 60 that's running a business trying to hire
No, even
work.
young-
I'm just saying
Oh, I
trying to
gotcha.
that have
30.
established businesses that are trying to hire work out of college. Like that's the other part of this. And I'm not not to talk politics or anything. I don't care. But like kids are coming out of college so entitled, thinking like
I have my degree.
I better get 6 figures coming out of college, or else I'm not even going to work for you. And it's like,
and it better be part time.
And their
And I
work-
better
yeah.
have as
And
many
better be able to
work
work
as
from
I
home.
want.
And I
work
better have
ethic's
a
not great.
I better have a cry room, right? I better have a place where I can.
I want
like,
a safe space, and I want a lot of them.
Yeah.
That
Unlimited
doesn't fit. That doesn't fit 99% of company cultures.
No.
But
It's
you
just
can't
like-
even afford that as a business owner. You can't afford that. Like, how is that
Yeah.
even possible? But that's what they leave expecting.
That's what they're expecting because they're told like
Why
get this
is-
degree
Why
and
does
you're
that
good.
happen though? Like, why is that being indoctrinated in them
I don't
in
know,
school?
man.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's not
to
the
me.
real world though. I'll
I think
tell you
that's
that
just
much.
how it was way back when, and we've just accelerated at such a rate, but that's still their mindset. Still, school mindset is how it was.
Well,
in the
back in the
50s
day,
plus.
that's because entrepreneurship back in the day
was rare.
really rare, and it was almost looked down on as like, oh, you're going to entrepreneurship was basically you have no job, right? You're out of work. I'm an entrepreneur, right?
How far back we talking?
I don't know how far back we're talking, but I know like back in the day, that's what you did.
wasn't
You
a
went to
thing to
school.
do.
You know, you went to school, you got a degree, and you went and were a mechanic. You went and were this or that or whatever you wanted to do with that degree. Nowadays, and I've actually listened to Gary Vee talk about this same thing, where a lot of business owners are complaining about kids and their entitlement, and he actually flipped it on the business
Yeah.
owner. Have you seen
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
And basically talked about like, are they entitled? Or do they just realize that they have options? They can be happier going to becoming an influencer and
Yep.
making 60 grand a year versus 100 grand a year working for you. Because I do agree with like Mark Cuban one time on Shark Tank. He mentioned like I'd rather make $80,000 a year for the rest of my life working for myself than $1 million working for someone else.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like,
I'm in the same boat.
me too.
Yeah.
I want to call my shots.
Yeah.
Like if I make it, it's my fault. If I don't make it, it's my fault. If I make it, it's on me too. But I also can go help my wife if she needs help. I can take the day off if I need the day off. I don't have to.
But
go
on the
somewhere.
on the other hand, you work harder than you will
Ever
ever
would,
work in your
yeah.
in your
Yeah.
life.
like 10, 13, 11, 12-hour days, and your wife's like, take.
Like where you
And they
at?
better be effective days.
Yeah,
Like,
you
they
can't
better be productive
yeah,
and effective.
or else you're not moving
'Cause
forward.
it's
and,
all on
yeah.
you. That's what's so cool about entrepreneurship. Not saying everyone should be an entrepreneur, but everybody should.
If you're cut
If
that
you're cut-
way.
yeah.
Yeah, you got to be cut a certain way.
Yeah, but man, it's crazy.
So I don't even know how we diverged into
But
this
any,
tangent.
well, just to kind of close off this topic, right, is with a bunch of companies, OpenAI being one of them, which is the one that released ChatGPT. Yeah, I know.
That's the biggest
Business tangent. But they're actually making tools to where you can put the paper or the article or the essay into their platform, and it'll try to guess whether or not it was written by a student versus AI.
But how well is that going to work?
26% probability right now, because you
But
can
can
use.
you, as a teacher, can you be like, okay, it's 26% likely?
No,
So that's
no.
yes.
Because then at that point, all the
not-
kids are gonna be like, "Heck with you, I'm
And,
out of here."
and then another
Um,
AI just comes out that is
Bypasses
different than
it.
ChatGPT.
No,
so
but
that
the
won't
problem
read
is
that
but
technology.
the reason it's only 26% is because
Accurate?
20% accuracy
Of
to be able to
calling
calling it.
Somebody
Used
chat bot wrote
ChatGPT.
this.
The problem because is you can literally tell it to use whatever language you want. So write it as a 5th grader, because their models are they look at it from like if they're in 3rd grade and it's 5th or 6th or 7th grade level,
Oh.
there's a good chance it wasn't written by them.
So now you can tell the AI to write it at
Dumb
your
it
level.
down.
Dumb
Because
it
what you
down.
can do too is you can plug in your form of writing and
Can
say
you really?
mimic my type of writing.
Seriously?
You can do
can
anything.
do anything.
It's nuts.
Just
AI
like write a paragraph and then like
Yeah,
write
you
it
can
like
copy
I
my
do.
style of writing. and it
Create my
looks like-
same errors.
Exactly. You can do anything you want. with it. It's insane.
Okay,
And-
so go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I was going to change the subject.
Yeah, let's do
Okay,
it.
so this is the next article that I want to get your guys' thoughts on it, because we're kind of right in the heat of this,
Yeah.
right? So Josh has 3 kids, right? I got one already.
2 on the
Britton has
way.
1 on the way.
Just kidding,
Yeah,
just kidding.
we'll start trying here in a bit. Right? So this one is
Went on the way.
Yeah, buddy.
It's crazy. I still can't get over
the
that.
lawmaker he's pushing to raise the minimum age of social media use to 16.
I
Define
have an
social
interesting
media.
thought on this. Let's
Define
see.
social media. Every
Just to
platform
create an account,
on
you got to be
anything.
16.
On Facebook.
But you can
anything.
get past that
Is
so
YouTube-
easy.
All you got to do
social-
is tell them you fake it.
Yeah, you tell them you're fake
Birthday.
it. That's what I did with Facebook
Oh.
when I was growing up. When I was
But here's
Nine.
here's their argument, right? So he says, because that's a big argument, is like, yeah, I haven't had Facebook. You literally just tell it.
It's like
You're
when
old
you
enough.
set up your account. You
Yeah,
just
you
say,
just say
you
you're
just-
old
you
enough.
just-
I was born in
I always
1990.
did that growing up.
Yeah.
But he makes a good point. He's like, these tech giants can literally create anything they want and get anything they want, but they can't make it more secure. So you can't use it when you're under 16.
Yeah.
It just shows you that they don't,
don't
want
want
to
to.
do that.
No, they
Because
don't-
that's probably their
that
biggest
limits their.
viewers.
Well,
It's
their
they're grooming them as
exactly.
they're growing up.
That's the thing, right? Because if they can get, what's the average age on TikTok? It's like 13.
13 years
Imagine
old.
what that does to a developing brain.
Do you know
That-
what?
that's their
TikTok
argument.
is the most garbage content on
Oh,
the planet.
dude.
Well,
it's a
13
cesspool.
And 13-year-olds are.
Do you want to
the
hear
most-
an
Yeah.
interesting thing about that? So there's an interview with the CEO of TikTok, the Chinese owner,
Well, I saw
and
this.
they asked him, "Do your kids have TikTok?" And he said, "None of them.
We don't let them use it in
We
our
don't
household.
let them use it. I know what's on there. I don't want my kids." The CEO of TikTok doesn't
And
let his
what's
kids
even crazier,
use TikTok.
don't they have a different version in China of the content of TikTok?
Yeah, because U.S. and China versions are different. It's run by.
He won't even let his kids use the Chinese version,
Yeah,
right?
'cause
Does he
he-
live in China?
Yeah, he lives. He knows what's on TikTok. He knows what it does to the brain, and so that's his kids can't use it.
The
It's
Chinese
against
version. And
the-
we're over here
the owner,
the owner
not
who
letting
knows
his
what's
kids
going
use
on.
his own product.
Jeez.
Swallow that
Jeez.
pill.
Well, going along that, 38% of children between 8 and 12 use social media, and then
That's
84% of teenagers 13 to 18.
What do you do?
And so, like, seriously, as fathers, like,
And we all have daughters too.
yeah, they're all of them are
I'm
daughters.
so much more protective
Yeah,
of my
exactly.
little
Like, the
ladies.
last thing I want is a bunch of like creeper dudes or people looking at my daughter while she's
Oh my
being
gosh.
innocent on social media, right?
Yeah.
But we grew up, like, I remember when the flip phone came out, right? I mean, I'm 32, so I'm not old.
Well,
but,
seventh
like,
grade. I think
yeah.
I was seventh grade.
something like that. I just remember I got a flip phone, right? You couldn't even do anything on it.
Yeah. You
And-
could play on the newer one. You could play Snake.
Oh,
I
yeah,
remember
that
playing
was like
Snake.
the
That's
thing,
next
Snake.
level.
Yeah, dude. You're like click, 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 click.
So, but as current fathers and future fathers, especially of daughters, like, what are your thoughts on 16 years old? I'd even think 16 is like,
Well-
but you can't say no to social media
That's what's
and then
tricky.
just.
I think that's
you're
what was so attractive about my wife when we were dating is she didn't have social media and she didn't grow up with social media. Like, I don't know why or what, but she just never liked social media, and that was like one of the main attractions is, oh, cool. It felt like she was unplugged from the matrix, I guess you could say. Like, oh, she actually has like real attributes to her. She's not a social media person. So that was like a big attraction for me when we started dating. So I don't know what triggered her never to get social media. I actually do though. So
I don't know, but I actually did.
I don't know.
now that I remember, but she had it until she was like in junior high, and then one of the leaders of our church talked about the negatives of social media and gave everyone a challenge to delete it, and she deleted it and never had it since.
Dang.
So
There is something to be said. Like, I remember I deleted it for, I think it was a month. For the first week or two, all day long, your hands are just like grabbing your phone.
oh yeah,
It's just a nonstop. Just
You're so conditioned. You're like Pavlov's dogs.
Yeah.
yeah.
Ding. Like, oh,
Yeah,
oh, dang.
exactly. You're so
Exactly.
conditioned for that thing. And what I found too is, I mean, it's a great tool to be able to do research for business, I think,
And
to
to market
grow
business.
and to grow business. But what I found was when I deleted it, I didn't miss it at all. Like,
No.
because I don't post on
You know what's
social
crazy?
media, so
when
it
you
was
do
worthless.
that, like, you call it like the social media fast or whatever.
Yeah.
When you get off it, you feel like you're just lost in the sauce. You don't know what's going on. As soon as you get back on it, you're like, I
You
missed
didn't-
nothing.
you didn't miss
Exactly.
anything.
And then, so I made the vow that I was going to delete it the day I got married because I've tried to delete it.
What do you,
a
when you're
ton.
saying it, what are you referring to?
I had
Like everything?
I only had Instagram. That's the
Instagram?
only thing I
Okay.
used because I thought TikTok was just poisonous
Yeah.
as far as what it does to your brain. So I made the vow, deleted it, but my only hesitation was, oh, I'm gonna miss what all these other people are doing.
Like you're not gonna know what's
I'm not gonna
trending,
know what's going on. And
on.
then I deleted it. I'm like, why do I need to know?
Yeah, live
Like,
your life.
My life is me and my wife and my immediate
And
family.
your friends and family.
You still
Everyone
have
else,
it deleted,
yeah, I still have it deleted. Don't use it.
but just for business.
I still have my accounts because I post. So I don't consume. I only produce on it
Yes.
for business accounts. But the amount of freedom, I don't know how to describe it because just my relationships are way closer with the people I actually care about. And then I was watching this video on this philosopher from the 70s or 80s, and he talks about, this is before social media, he talked about the dangers of meddling in other people's business and affairs. And he's like, you can't even get your own life figured out. Why are you so worried about other people's affairs that are just
Dang.
acquaintances?
Do you know who said that?
I can't remember. I watched the video. I can't remember who
It
it
was
was.
a long time ago.
Yeah.
That is
It's powerful.
because that's all we do
All
all
social
day
media
long.
is meddling in other people's affairs, and it's their
Comparing.
Yeah, and it's not their real affairs.
They're
It's their fantasy.
They're fabricated.
They're fabricated
life.
affairs. Why would you?
Well,
why
then-
would you spend your time on that?
And think of that. Like, I loved what you just said. Is a lot of people follow it to know what's in, right? What's the new trend? Why do I need to know what a trend is so I can take a picture of myself doing that trend
What
and
does
share
that
it
get
on
you
the
in
ether?
life?
But that's the only other reason why.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm just worrying about my relationship with my wife, with God, with my family, with my really close friends, like, they don't care how I dress.
Exactly.
They don't care how I do my hair.
They don't care how
They
many
don't care
likes I got.
anything, right?
Yeah.
And so when you can take your whole focus and just be like, what do I need to do for my wife? Not what do I need to
Exactly.
do for
My followers.
this. I mean, I had a friend that was getting big when TikTok first came out, and he was literally in his garage producing content while he was babysitting his 3 kids. His wife was out, and his 3 kids didn't eat for like 4 hours. because he was just out there in his own world creating content for his following.
Yeah.
Whereas like your immediate family, that's really all that matters.
That's your real following.
Yeah.
Think of that.
And they were being neglected because you needed to create the perfect post for your ether followers. And so I just think like
It's so bizarre.
16
It's
years
just
old
so bizarre.
maybe, but I just think life's all about family, your inner circle. And if you can hyper focus on making sure your inner circle fills your presence, you're going to be a lot happier than trying to chase something else.
Well, if you guys watched the Social Dilemma documentary on Netflix,
I haven't
that's
watched
what
it.
triggered my anti-social media journey, I guess you could say.
Is that the one where they like,
It's,
hey,
it's
if I
all
want to
the
make people,
ex-Facebook workers, ex-Instagram
they
workers.
can just
the
try
like
and
button.
mob.
They're all higher end up workers that left the companies because they started seeing how immoral it was getting on what they were doing behind the scenes. And it was after I watched that documentary, that's the first time I ever deleted all my social medias, just to start this journey of getting free from it. Is he talked about how addicting they make it, why they make it addicting.
Okay.
They talk about it's like a slot machine, like in a casino. Every time you refresh, you want to see new images or new red like buttons.
Mm-hmm.
He says a lot of people sit there all day and will refresh,
It's so
just pull them
Just
like a
for
slot
that
at a
single
casino
thing.
for that small dopamine hit.
I'm so glad we're talking. I'm deleting all my social medias right now from my phone. I'm gonna try this.
It's the most freeing thing ever.
How do you navigate it? So I hate TikTok, but we use it for business.
I still
Just get on
Just
a post.
delete it.
No, just get
No,
on a
I
post.
get
I just don't even want it on my phone. Like,
But why? Who
Facebook,
cares?
Instagram. 'Cause
well, I think
I have
eventually
no
we
discipline
get business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
in that sense.
Because I have yet to consume a TikTok video, but I post 10 to 20 times a day on it.
Can you
I
just-
just
let's
spam
see.
that bottom right button when I open the app so I don't see. But
I think that's where I think we got to have our goals very clear.
I'm gonna
like,
delete.
Yeah.
I'm deleting all my stuff. I'm gonna see how I feel
Do it.
for a week and just see what
oh
happens.
yeah, and you're gonna check your phone probably 40 times a day.
for like 3 days.
and
It's
you're
just
gonna.
so
This is
tricky.
what happened to me when I first deleted all my social media. I'd open my phone, go to where my social medias were. They weren't there anymore because I deleted them. Then I'd just scroll back and forth on my iPhone
And then
home
you put it
screen
down.
and eventually put it down.
That's
You
so
don't realize
nuts.
how just
You're so conditioned.
you're so
Conditioned.
conditioned. It's so addictive, but you just don't know until you delete it.
Okay,
It's
so on
crazy.
this, going like to the main question, having kids and little daughters and potential, I don't know if it's son or a daughter. I don't know what you guys
We'll
are having.
see.
How do you navigate that? Because you can't just be like,
You're gonna be that horrible parent. So like everyone
well,
has it.
here's the issue with that is I've had friends who their parents are way hover parents. They control everything their kids do. They didn't let them hang out with girls or friends. Every single one of the siblings in that family went out the deep end. Some
crazy.
coming
Yeah.
back and stuff.
So I
but,
think
like,
it's the whole teach
drugs
them-
and it
Yeah.
push them away from their parents, which was the opposite of what their mom was trying to do.
But did their parents just say no, you can't be on it, or did they
Or were
actually
they,
like talk about it?
I don't know.
I think that could be a huge thing, is helping the kids understand why,
Make sure I deleted everything.
instead of just saying nope, you can't have it.
Whereas there's that one quote. It's like teach them correct principles to the best of your ability, and
And let
then
'em govern
you almost got to
themselves.
just let them govern themselves to a limit.
But
Joe
even-
Smith.
Yeah.
Joe Smith.
But even then, like in this situation, then it's up to them whether or not they want to have social media, right? So as a parent, how do you?
You could have house rule. I've seen a lot of families that just have the rule in the house, like until you're 13 or 14, you can't even have social
Yeah,
media.
but 13, you're still
that's when
so
you're-
young. That's
I
when
guess
you're
that's- yeah.
ripe for like.
Dude, I don't know what you do
grooming.
though, because I know there's no positive to it.
That's the
but
issue.
everyone has it.
There really is
and
no
they're gonna
positive.
feel left
'Cause
out if
yeah,
they don't have
but-
it.
But who talked about that? Someone talked about that where like you can't be the only kid in high school because they're gonna get access to it no matter what.
Yeah, they're gonna
So if you're
find
like,
a
hey, we
separate
don't
They
need
have a
phone.
social
burner
media.
phone.
No, that's
Exactly.
what
I know.
If
I
all their
know.
friends are doing it, they're either gonna feel like an outcast or they're gonna be like, "Hey, I gotta go behind mom and dad's back."
I think you
You
should
don't
have
wanna create
open
that.
dialogue about it. I've seen a lot of people that just put the time limits on the phones. I don't know what you do.
And maybe, and
Nervous.
here's one thing.
And my
too,
kids are
though.
growing fast.
They're growing fast. But think, if you have a lot of stuff going on in your life,
In like your family's life.
just
Your kid.
goals. Your kids playing sports, or they're in this and that,
If
and
they're
doing all
bored,
these
I think
things.
that's where it gets
yeah,
super
they don't have time to
dangerous.
get on social media.
And when they do, it's just
It's
like,
like a little
meh.
5-10 minutes,
Yeah,
and then
but if they're
they got to
bored,
practice.
I think that's when they get into the dangerous
Yeah, then
stuff.
you're just swiping and swiping and
And you
swiping,
start
and
looking
you
at
start
stuff
looking
you
at like
shouldn't be.
you're reading
And
stuff
then
that
fake
bullying and
profiles
fake
are
profi-
talking to you.
Exactly.
That's what
So
I'm scared of.
Maybe that's what it is. Is as a parent, we need to show our kids, like, hey, we're going places, and you're
Yeah.
gonna watch me go there. And this thing, this phone, this social media, I don't spend time on it because that's stopping me from getting
think
where
that's a
I'm going.
big thing.
Or you teach
What do
them
you
like,
wanna
hey, this
do?
is a tool.
Tool.
This is a tool to help
I
you
like that.
accomplish
Because
your
how many
dreams.
parents all, like I just see it, moms that are 30-ish, they're on their phones 24/7 when I'm at a soccer game or when I'm
Yeah, they're not
just
even
anywhere
watching
I'm
their
at in
kids.
public, there's a kid with them and they're always scrolling.
Yeah.
So it's like, what's your kid gonna look up and see? They're gonna
That's
see
the normal.
how addictive
Mhm.
this is. Oh, it's I can't wait to do that.
It's normal.
And
Do you
it's
think we do that
nothing
to
good.
numb?
It's addicting.
Yeah, I don't think it's a numb, dude.
I think
Is
it's
it not a numb?
it's escapism is what I think it is.
Which would be like a numbing.
But I don't even think it's.
I think it's because in the social
I don't
dilemma
know.
they talk about it's a gambling addictive mentality when you're on social
But-
media.
you don't know what you're going to
It's
say
the same
next.
reason people go into a casino. Why do they go?
But it's not for escapism, because think of escapism as you don't like something and you're getting away from it.
verification
That's
too.
true.
Most people don't hate their lives and they're escaping something. It's literally, I just think it's
It's
addicting.
addicting.
I just think mentally, human beings,
And
we get
is
addicted
that where they
easily.
go for their affirmation?
Could be.
Is the likes and comments they get on their
Yeah.
You know what,
photos.
here's-
A lot of it could be boredom. It could
With
be
that, who's that? Is it Pearl? You know who I'm talking about?
redhead.
Yeah, she talks about feminism
Yeah.
and masculinity
Yeah,
and stuff.
she's sweet.
She's really interesting, but she talked about she had a group of girls in this room and they were talking about social media, and she was like, so why you guys just doing it for the attention, right? Like, no, I just love the way I look. Okay, so why don't you take a picture and keep it in your own phone library? They're like, oh, well, because I just want to put it on my Instagram. Like, okay, why? If you're doing it for
Yeah.
you, why don't you just take a cute picture of yourself
And then look
keep
at
it
it.
on your phone in your phone library and look at it every now and then? And they're like, well, because I want it on Instagram. Like, why do you want it on Instagram? Because people can see it and like it on Instagram. There
you
we
go.
go.
Exactly.
It's for self-validation, making sure that other people
And it
think that you're worth
depresses
something.
most other people because they don't look as good as they do in real life in that fake picture.
Yeah,
The
crazy.
amount of depression social media causes blows me away too.
So at the end of the day, what it comes down to is having self-worth
Yeah.
and not looking for that self-worth
teaching that
outside
self-worth to your
of
children.
Yeah.
in your inner self.
Yeah.
And I believe, honestly, I mean, whether people like it or not, it's spirituality. A lot of self-worth comes from
Knowing
understanding
who
who you are and what your purpose is here on this earth.
Yeah.
I would agree with
You know,
that.
and not letting all of these outside voices of people you really don't care about influence how you think about yourself.
I like it. And especially not just, have you read Outwitting the Devil, that
Yeah.
book? So I think it's easier to have self-worth if you're not drifting and if you're working towards something.
Yeah,
but
go
if,
places.
if
I
you're
love that.
drifting, how can you have good self-worth?
So what is drifting?
So it's just kind of being okay with how your life is, not progressing towards anything, not working towards anything, just kind of living.
Just existing.
And I think 99% of the population post-college goes into drift mode because they get a job. I'm not saying there's wrong with that. I'm just saying everyone gets their job, they get their house, they have their family and wife. That's life. They never work on bettering that relationship with their wife, bettering their relationship with their kids, bettering how they act at work, bettering how effective they are at work. They just accept this is my life, and then they start drifting.
So in the book, just for some reference, the book is an interview with the devil, right?
Yep.
And the devil's number one goal and tool to stop progression is drifting.
Yep.
So he is the happiest, whether you believe in this or not. In the book, he's the happiest when
You're
Somebody's
drifting.
drifting.
Yeah.
because why? Because you're not
'Cause you're not
progressing, you're not
progressing
fulfilling
towards
your true
anything.
purpose.
Yeah, you're not
reaching your
he
potential.
would rather have us drift than digress because when we're digressing, we notice. But when we're drifting, we're kind of just in like a zombie state, just accepting everything
You
for
just
what it
I
is.
love that.
Drift.
Well, think
That's
of
such a good word, drift.
Drift.
think of
Scary.
your relationship,
Yes.
right? So, like you guys said, what is courting? When you meet a lady or a guy that you love,
you
and
try
you're
to
like,
impress
man, I
her."
really
Yeah.
want this person. What do? You court them.
You pursue.
You're doing
make them
stuff.
feel special.
Yeah. You're going out of
Leaving
your way to
notes,
make them feel
doing
special,
as much
right?
as you can.
And like you said, then
Kissing
you,
their face.
yeah, kissing their-
Honestly, lip on lip.
But then you get married, you sign that document,
You stop trying. You let yourself
you
go.
let yourself go before you're working out, trying to look good. But seriously though,
how
there's a lot of
lazy
truth
do
to
you
that.
get instantly where you kind of just
Yeah,
lay
maybe
around
Maybe not
the
instantly.
apartment?
Maybe it's
maybe
like
the
more
honeymoon
gradual.
phase, yada yada yada.
I'll tell you, after like 7 years now and 3 kids later, you have to actively try not to do
That's
that.
what I'm saying though. Is you
Yeah.
start to drift and think of
It's a gradual.
how many relationships end 15 years in or 20 years in or 10 years in. It's like, how can you not end a relationship if
Because
you're
you're both
drifting?
two completely different people.
You're just drifting. You're letting
Yeah.
the world take you
You're
wherever
not
you want to
progressing
go.
towards something.
Or waking up every day and being like, okay, how did I court my wife or my then girlfriend or fiance before
your
we got married,
husband.
husband? And then now, what can I do right now to court him? How
Exactly.
can I improve our relationship going forward so we're not just drifting
Something
together?
me and my wife talked about in the honeymoon phase is everyone gave us the advice right before we got married. Have fun in the honeymoon phase because it doesn't last long. And we would always talk like, what a poor way to look at life. Why can't the honeymoon phase be the rest of our life? Why can't we treat every day as the honeymoon phase? Because that's just on the
That's
marriage.
action, for sure.
Yeah, so why is it we only get 1 week of honeymoon phase before we start like
Drifting.
noticing weird things, start getting bugged? Why can't we just decide to progress towards a honeymoon phase for the rest of our life?
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like the whole honeymoon phase is over is a form of drifting and just accepting like, all right, this is how marriage is, instead of like, no, let's make this a level 10 marriage.
I agree.
Man, that is deep
Some deep stuff.
I'm tired. Got a headache now.
Yeah, well, we'll send you guys the bill.
Jeez, Louise.
The invoice.
Check, please. You guys want to hear a crazy
Yeah, let's
story?
hear
Let's hear a
story.
crazy story.
Okay, so this is it's a short story,
Okay.
but it's so interesting to me. I don't know. Most people don't know about this. It's a World War II situation or group. Okay, so have you guys ever heard of the Ghost Army?
No, but that sounds sweet.
It reminds me of Lord of the Rings. One of my favorite part of Lord of the
Oh,
Rings,
the ghost.
Return of the King. Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli
Yep.
jump off the boat at the end,
So
and all the
sick.
orcs and your others like, what are you guys even
And they
doing?
start going towards them, like,
And then all of the
take you
ghost
guys.
kings show up.
Oh,
Yeah, that's right.
that's the
Yeah.
exact same. Just kidding.
No way. That was real?
That was real. That was based on a true story. So in World War II in 1944, this Ghost Army was created. Okay, it's a special troop unit.
So is it kind of like special ops? Is that?
Well, I mean, I guess technically because they're special operations.
Yeah.
But it's this. We'll call them special troop unit.
Okay.
It's not as crazy as you think. It is like
Sounds
interesting.
sweet.
But their role, so let me tell you about this. So it's a group of 1,100 of them. Don't read my notes. You can look up here. A group of 1,100 of them. Right before D-Day, this Ghost Army was deployed to operate in the European theater of World War II. So they were in Europe when the Germans were starting to invade. 1,100 people. They found these soldiers from art schools, from New York and
Whoa.
Philadelphia art schools. So what they did was they were a group of artists, and they had fake blow-up tanks.
I've heard the story.
You've heard of these
Yep.
guys?
Yep, I have.
Have you heard of this?
Uh-uh.
Most people haven't heard of the Ghost
Yeah.
Army. The craziest thing ever. So they
I'm
were
getting the chills
Me
listening
too,
to it.
me
Yeah.
too. Group of 1,100 artists and radio communication people and what else? They were comprised of a whole bunch of different things, but they had huge. How big were they? 500-pound speakers that they would carry around with them. So a group of 1,100 people, and they would position them all around the European theater, and they would simulate two huge divisions of the U.S. Army, which is 30,000 plus soldiers. So they would make up like these tanks, these fake airplanes, fake artillery, and play these huge speakers and just march around Europe, confusing the crap out of the Germans. So they would basically, the Germans would think these speakers were so loud that they could hear them from 15 miles away, and they would simulate like marching, like huge divisions of soldiers marching,
Dang.
and they would have fake radio comms that the Germans would pick up, and they would think like, hey, we got a division of U.S. soldiers on this part of Europe. We got to do something about it. But it was just 1,100 guys marching with fake blow-up tanks.
Yeah,
Dang.
so that's what I wanted to make
So
sure you
I-
brought up is the blow-up tank.
Because
So
I
they,
know that's how they invaded D-Day. Is this the same army? 'Cause
So they
had
were
that
deployed right
decoy-
before D-Day. So I'm sure these guys played a huge role in that. So their whole purpose, their whole mission, and they were really classified. Even after the war, nobody knew about the Ghost Army until like, I think it was like 1985. Some journalist wrote an article on it. But nobody knew about it. It was so classified. So yes, they had rubber tanks that they would march around, and they were 1,100 men. And so the Germans thought there was 30,000 soldiers ready to fight them on the southern flank of Europe when D-Day was happening up north or wherever, Normandy or whatever. So I think that's just so crazy that artists, and they would just paint the tanks, make them super realistic, and they would just beat their huge drums to make the
sweet.
Germans think.
Because
they were
I
insulted.
think I remember seeing a documentary or something on this where German reconnaissance planes
Yeah.
or something would fly over
And see tons
the
of tanks coming their way.
right? And
Rubber
yeah, they
tanks.
were all just rubber tanks painted realistically with
Yeah.
the sounds involved. So
It
they're
was
thinking
the
like,
Ghost
shoot.
Army. Exactly.
But little they know they would have
I
rolled
wonder
over
if
in
they
2
ever
seconds.
saw conflict. I wonder if they ever came face to face with Germans.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or do you think they would just hightail out of there anytime they knew a German army was
Yeah, I don't
coming?
know.
Oh, there's
their way?
no way they would stand
Yeah,
and
they'd
fight
be
'em.
gone in an hour.
But that's what was so cool about them. They're only 1,100 people. Like if a division
Yeah.
is 30,000 men, okay, so they would go and pick fights with divisions of German soldiers. So Germans would have to move. Think of the logistic nightmare of war, especially
Yeah.
like scaling that big. They would have to figure out how to move 30,000 men and all their equipment to, okay, they're 15 miles this way. We got to move everything that way.
That's a good
So that
point.
was the point of them. Whereas 1,100 of these fake,
They get super mobile.
they could be like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, they're starting to move. Let's go over here.
So
and let's go
their
over here.
whole goal was to just mess up communications with Germans, mess up
Completely-
the reality,
complete
confuse their-
confusion.
That is
Yeah.
so cool.
And they would send fake radio transmissions that the Germans would pick up, and that's what Germans would position themselves to go fight this huge
Thinking
division.
they're like, dude, we got 'em.
So they were just messing. It was just mind
Yeah.
warfare.
That's what
Man,
war
The
is, though. man.
Ghost army.
when you think of war, you don't really think of that stuff at surface level, but that's such a big part of war is confusing the enemy.
Yeah. Remember back in the day when, was it our revolution? When they would stand and just fight against the British? That was
Oh,
like
yeah,
the
stand there-
proper way
stand
to
in their
war.
lines.
Yeah,
You
it's
just
like,
stand
heck
in
with
lines
that.
with your muskets, and just the guy next to you falls over. You just
You're
keep
like, well,
marching.
Hopefully
Yeah, sucky that would be.
Yeah.
The only way we won that war was the guerrilla warfare aspect.
Yeah,
If
when you
we would've
started
played
thinking-
on their terms.
Well, that's why they were so confident, the British Army, because nobody could stand against them because traditionally everybody fought
Numbers.
that same way.
Yeah.
And because their army was so big and vast, they could literally walk up to any other army in a line and destroy them.
Mm-hmm.
So they were confident they could just wipe everybody out.
Yeah.
And then the U.S. little militias, they're like, I'm not going to stand in a field and shoot my musket
I
at
can't
you.
believe
then-
that's how warfare used
Yeah,
to
but
be.
then they reverted in World War One, even worse, no man's land.
Well, that's trench warfare.
I
That's
get that, but you got no
Well,
shot.
did you know trench warfare is going on right now over in Russia,
crazy.
Ukraine?
Really?
Their trench.
Crazy.
It just looks just like World War One. The
It's
trenches
so
they're
nuts.
making.
Wow.
It's a crazy war.
I
over
can't
there right
believe
now.
that's
No one's
even
talking
happening.
about it.
It was so hyped
What?
up when it first started.
Because that's all it was politically
Driven.
good to talk about here in the U.S. And then after it's not politically good anymore, they just
And
stop
when the
talking about
news
it.
stopped
They don't
getting
give a
so
crap
much
about
hype
I
it.
about
still
that.
look during my lunch breaks. I usually watch stuff on that war.
They're saying it's the most documented war in
Yeah, 'cause
history.
Because
everyone
of social
has-
media.
everyone has
Everybody
their
has a
phones.
GoPro on their heads. Everybody has their phones out.
Yeah, and
Like the actual soldiers in combat are filming their.
That's nuts.
Whereas no war has that ever happened.
Jeez.
and the casualty rate. I don't want to throw out a number because I've seen a bunch of them, but they're upwards of 6 figures. Like, it's crazy.
Holy
No one-
cow. on both Ukraine
Both
and
sides
Russia.
combined.
Who
And it's
knows
like
what's going to happen?
Most people think it's just a
like, over.
skirmish. People think it's a skirmish. It's a full-on.
It's
Have you
war.
seen the drone overhead views of the towns?
Oh,
Yeah,
just
There's not
completely destroyed.
one building. There's a town just as big as Salt Lake City, or if not bigger. Not one building isn't in rubbles,
Jeez.
and that's the majority of the front line over there. And there's a military guy here in the U.S. that covers it, and that's who I follow. And he just shows these, and he's like, Russia's goal was to take over, but you look at the overhead view, and it's like you're not taking over that city. You have to bring it down and rebuild it. You're not
Yeah.
gonna you can't. There's nothing to occupy.
No.
It's just rocks now.
Right.
It's
Man,
crazy.
It's crazy.
And then we think that it's over,
Exactly.
but it's more ramped up than ever.
Because I'm telling you, dude, like, and again, this is just
Social media.
This is just political, but like, as long as it benefits the agenda of whoever's in the office, they're going to share that story until it no longer benefits them, and they're going to stop. They don't really care.
Yeah, they don't
Let's be
care.
real.
They just want
to be
views.
reelected, and they just want to get money from all their donors. And so
Yeah.
that's why just like anyone these days, especially young people in college and younger people that are following politicians and thinking they really care about things and trying to fix crap, they've never fixed anything.
Yeah.
Like, so annoying.
Start that rant.
Start that rant.
Anyway, so that is
That's a crazy
my
story.
crazy
though.
story
Yeah,
about the Ghost
sweet.
Army.
That is
Pretty cool.
There's so many war stories that we don't know about. That
And
Yeah.
probably we'll never know.
know
think of
about
how much they haven't released
Yeah.
to the public that
Oh, for
has
sure.
gone on.
Probably
there's-
a lot of crap, too.
Oh, 100%. But I think of how much in World War II, over almost 100 years ago, 80 years ago, how much stuff they did that's
80
still
years
classified.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So it's cool. All right, going along that, then, do you want to hear a crazy stat about hunters here in the U.S.?
Yes.
This actually kind of surprised me. In the past 5 years, what percentage of the population has hunted?
Wait,
So wait, reword that. So like in the past 5 years.
In the past 5 years, how many Americans?
so if they've gone one time in 5
Yeah,
years,
that
it counts as
the
a percent.
percentage.
so one time in the last 5 years.
What's
that
the
counts.
percentage of Americans?
47%.
5%.
47.5. Number's 5%.
5%.
I was way off.
5%.
Yeah.
And it says it keeps declining every year.
Yeah.
So hunting's just it's just going away slowly.
I wonder
Why?
Well, it's because they don't. Hunting is generally a traditional thing
Yeah,
because like the dads teach their
you're right.
kids.
Yeah,
and-
that's a good point.
but as soon as that stops, you don't teach your kids anymore. Then it stops in your family.
And I think there's
You know what I mean?
huge,
Like hunting's very rare
Yeah.
to like.
just get into it. if you
Yeah,
don't-
and that's what was
yeah.
my situation. Is I was just really interested. Our dad hunted
Yeah.
all growing up, but then he stopped hunting, so
Yeah.
we never.
We
worked.
never
He took
hunted.
us rabbit hunting one time, I think when we were
I don't
little.
even remember any of that.
You know,
Mm-mm.
but yeah. So it's a traditional thing.
Hmm.
So what happens? I wonder what happens when they
And
stop.
I think a big part of it is the negativity that our modern culture puts on hunting.
You think so?
It's a
I could
very
see that.
I feel like in the general public there's a very
You're
negative
murdering
vibe. You're a
something.
murderer.
You are murder.
You're taking life.
Well, it's true.
Exactly.
really
But
is.
how many of those people say
Shut
that go
up.
to In and Out?
You're taking a life.
You are, but how many people?
Yeah, murder and take is different than.
What I guess
Like,
what's
come on.
murder?
Yeah.
What is the
Exactly.
definition of murder? I want to look this up.
And
Is
hunters,
hunting murder?
hunters are usually way more inclined with nature, with the animal, rather than just going to Wendy's, getting a burger, and then calling hunters
Well,
murderers.
well, along those same
It's
lines,
like-
have you seen the segment of Piers Morgan talking with the vegetarian? Like she's freaking out that he's eating a Big Mac, right? And she eats tofu, and so
Oh,
he
yeah,
so he
I
takes her
love that.
through the entire
Piers
process.
Morgan?
Yeah, he has one. I don't know. I'm sure there's a million other.
Hold on, I just looked it up.
Well, okay, let's hear it.
Murder is the unlawful premeditated killing of one human being to another.
Human
so it's not
being.
murder.
But they
And-
yell
but
it's
don't
murder.
say
And
that.
It's lawful.
But don't say that
'Cause
because
you
they're
get
going to
the
go change the
permit, yeah.
definition in the dictionary, just like they change what a woman is.
Oh, jeez.
So this, don't tell them that's what it says right now. They're adding
So you can't be
animals.
murder if you're a hunter.
Nope, because that's only
You
human.
Are a harvester?
I don't know.
You're taking a life.
Or you're harvesting
You're
food.
harvesting meat.
Just like every
It's
Okay, so
from the dawn of time, the Native Americans harvested
And-
bison, harvested
not
like
even just every
everybody.
every civilization since
Every
ever.
animal.
everything you eat comes from an
Has to come
animal,
from
Are you gonna call
and if it doesn't,
lions
it comes from
murderers?
something that
No,
kills
they're just
animals.
hungry.
Okay, but what if I eat tofu? I don't eat meat.
But yeah, that's what Pierre Morgan
Here's
said, right?
Piers Morgan.
He like broke it down and it kills all these insects and all these types of flowers and all these living things, and she was just like didn't want nothing to do with it. But it's like you can't.
She can make claims.
You can
of
make claims
hunting.
of eating that burger as murdering, but killing all these insects and other animals is not murdering because it's tofu. And it's just the weirdest. Like people these days get their mind set on like I'm holier than thou because I'm a vegan or I don't eat animals. But it's like the things you eat kills a tons of stuff too. Like no one is in the
Yeah.
right or wrong. Just like go live your freaking life.
Yeah,
leave
leave
all of us alone.
You leave everyone alone. and go
If that
live
makes you
your
happy
life.
to eat nasty tofu, go eat
Go
nasty
eat tofu. I'm gonna eat my steak.
I'll eat
Yeah,
a price.
Done.
I saw a meme. It was pretty funny. He's like, he says it's this guy on the grill, and he goes, "I eat double the amount of bacon I would ever eat just to make sure that one vegan out there isn't making a difference."
I love that.
That guy's killing me.
Killing it, man, right there.
But it's true. They just feel like it's their God-given like duty,
duty.
to change the world. And yeah, I get it. Like we need to take care of the planet. I understand. Like this planet is
What's so fascinating though is
Like-
conservation. Guess who runs conservation
Hunters.
the most? Guess who provides most money for
Hunters.
conservation acts? Guess who is more inclined to save? Guess who brings animals back to healthy populations? Animals that are
Hunters,
almost
exactly.
extinct
Yeah.
from hunting and overhunting. But the people who bringing them back aren't the people marching on the street saying don't eat food, like eat tofu. It's hunters.
Yeah. And who has
Isn't
more?
that weird?
And I feel like hunters have the most respect for wildlife than any other person.
In most
'Cause
cases, absolutely.
they're in it all the time.
Yeah.
And they're so connected
law-abiding
spiritually.
hunters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're connected more spiritually. It's funny how hunters are usually God-driven people. I wonder why that
is
happens.
so weird. Like, it's just so weird how this all connects. How
Yeah.
the whole world is connected. If you're aligned with certain values, you like certain things that are more ethical, and I don't know. It's just so
Yeah.
weird.
Well, ethical to them,
To
not
them.
ethical in general.
Yeah, it's it's crazy but hunters are on the decline in America.
I wonder what will happen when it's
Yeah,
super
when
low.
it goes to 1% or 0.5%.
But that's an
Then what?
issue with conservation because then they're not going to have as much money for conservation.
And then on the other side, who's gonna, like, for example, in Utah, we have the huge coyote problem. Hunters are the only thing that's taking out coyotes.
Keeping
and
the coyotes
they
in check.
need more hunters to do that. Once that's all gone, it's just going to be overrun by coyotes.
I mean, a part of me is like, good, because then more for me.
Yes.
But the other part of me is like, but the ecosystem of hunters is so crucial to the environment and animals and stuff that it'll be interesting to see what happens.
For sure.
So there's your crazy
Love
stat.
it.
That is
Hunters
crazy.
are on the decline.
Cool. All right, well, I'm stoked about this part, right? So we're going to do a deep dive into certain aspects of how to improve our lives. And we're all going to take a challenge, and we're all going to document it and see, like, is this person's morning routine even worth doing? Is cold plunging even beneficial? Is
We'll
doing
find
X, Y,
out.
Z?
I'm
So,
nervous.
yeah, so Britton, start. Let's hear what you,
All right,
you got
So this
going on.
is for 30 days.
Yeah,
the
for
next 30 days.
30 days.
We're
you're
just
gonna-
going to take one thing.
So my
Yeah.
biggest problem in life is getting up out of bed early in the
I
morning.
can confirm.
It is so hard for me, and I've tried so many things to beat it. So here's
Well,
time- what
before
time do you go
hold
to
on.
bed?
Before, so we had a group text going the other day, and Britton says, "How do I wake up in the morning?" And we all throw in our ideas. And good old Joshua here is like, "Oh, sometimes your body just needs rest."
But that's
I
true.
get that, but that wasn't the question. He was wondering how to wake up. And
I do go to bed early. but
Exactly.
I can
That's-
sleep
that's what I
12
was
hours
asking.
Yeah.
straight.
I was like, hey, what time are you going to bed? Because if you're going to bed late and you're waking up late, who cares?
I'm in bed by 10:30. My goal is to get out by 6:30.
but tell him what you did. You put a bowl
bowl
of
cold
water right next to his
Worked
bed.
for
and
2 mornings.
face
By
plunged.
morning 3,
You didn't do it.
my brain turns off the alarm and says, "I ain't ducking." I'm going back to bed. It's so hard for me to get out of bed. So I'm going to try Andrew Huberman's. Sorry if I butchered his last name. His morning routine.
Dr. Andrew.
Dr.
Yeah.
Andrew Huberman. So he has a morning routine. Apparently, that's pretty beast. So I'm just going to try it for 30 days because
What is the routine?
I'll share it.
Okay.
But if I can figure out how to hack my morning routine and getting out of bed early, it's going to change my life. Like I feel like
Why do you think it's going to change your life
I'm so much more productive when I'm up early.
in the morning?
Like even today, I got out of bed at 8:30, and I haven't been that motivated. I didn't even get to the
Interesting.
gym today because I didn't have time. I just came into work. Whereas if I'm up early, I feel super motivated. I feel like I'm productive.
Interesting.
I get to the gym, get a good workout, because if I get up late, I rush my workouts. All right, so here's his routine. So 6 a.m., wake up. And then the first thing he does when he wakes up is he drinks 2 glasses of water.
Does he say what time he goes to bed, though?
No, it was just his morning routine.
Just try to get 7 or 8 hours of sleep.
7 or
So
8
he
hours.
drinks 2 glasses of water the second he wakes up.
2 glasses of
So
water.
just chugs. Says he sometimes puts lemon in it or salt.
2 glasses. That's what, like,
a lot.
that's like
16
I tried-
40 ounces. It's
Yeah.
like,
What is it, 8-ounce glasses? Or is it 4?
no,
I
I
mean,
think
it
it's
is
like
like
16
glass.
ounces. It's like 32 ounces of
It's
water.
a
That's
lot.
Yeah.
I feel like you're gonna throw up.
But if it just kicks your system into, especially because you're dehydrated through the whole night.
Yeah.
And so that's the first thing he does. Then he goes straight into yoga nidra is what it's called.
Sounds made up.
So that's what I thought. So apparently yoga nidra he does right after waking up and the 2 glasses. He does it like 10 to 15 minutes after waking up. You kind of go back to sleep during it. So it's a very sleep with awareness is what they title it. It's what nidra stands for sleep. I don't know what language, but it's yoga sleep. So you're sleeping with awareness. So there's 5 steps to it. So first you kind of do light movement, kind of stretch around. Then you lay down on your back, palms up to the side, and you from the right to your body to the left of your body, you focus on movement.
I'm calling it right.
I know.
I'm calling it right
I'm
now.
gonna fall asleep.
Yeah.
Dude, how do you get past
You're
that?
gone, and that's
What he talks about is if you do this in the morning, there's something that happens where it sets you up to sleep way better the next
okay.
night.
Interesting.
All right.
So it's you do it now and read the rewards later. And so you'll just get better and better and better
Because
sleep.
you're training your body to go out of sleep, go into sleep, go out of sleep, go into sleep.
Interesting.
That's my biggest problem too. If I lay down, it takes me like an hour to finally like get
too.
tired. So if I can figure that out, so he does that for about 10 to 15 minutes. Then right after that, he gets sun exposure. So where we live right now, the sun doesn't come up till like 8:30. And so what he said is, if you don't have the sun that early in the morning, just get one of those sun lamps that mimics,
like the red
like-
light things or whatever.
I don't know, it mimics the same
just super
stuff
bright.
you get. Not bright, but it mimics like the UV rays. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into that and get one of those because we don't get sun. So for about 2 to 10 minutes, he says get sun exposure, and he walks around while he does it, to like waking up his system. 6:30, he takes a cold shower. I've tried cold showers. It's so hard.
They suck.
It sucks. So from 6 a.m. to 6:30, think of how much has already happened. So
Yeah.
it's like a boom, boom, boom morning. And so 6:30 cold shower, and then at 7 o'clock I'll go and work out at the gym. So from 6:30 to 7 I'll go work out. But he talks about this. I'm gonna have to solve this problem. Not taking caffeine for the first like 2 hours of being awake. What do I do with pre-workout?
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna have to get non-caffeinated pre-workout or
Simple.
something like that, and then that's his morning routine. He has a whole day routine, but I'm just gonna start with the morning because my days look way different than his as far as just work and all that kind of stuff. So that's from 6 a.m. to 7. So I wake up at 6, and then I get to the gym at 7, and I do all that stuff in between.
Cool.
So I've tried yoga like twice in my life, and I can't stand it.
Yeah.
So that's the part I'm worried about is yoga.
But it sounds like it's more
Meditation
meditation.
yoga,
Yoga.
Yeah.
The yoga that's super hard is like
P90X yoga.
Oh my gosh, I've never finished one of those, but
it just hurts.
So
so
next-
bad.
for the next 30 days, I'm going to try this morning routine and then see what happens.
You're
I'm
gonna
going to document
document
it. Yeah. Take one of these vlog cameras and document. But that is my
I'm excited to see
Next
you do your
30-day challenge.
Your yogas. There's no way you don't fall asleep. You're gonna be
Yeah.
out.
I'm going to set an alarm on my phone
But you
in
gotta
case
film
I do.
it so that you're.
and I'm
Time-lapse
sure
that.
I'll fail a couple mornings. It's never going to be perfect, but I'm going to try and get it.
Okay, so
every
30 days.
morning.
How do you gauge if you feel like it's working? Just based on
How you
how
feel,
you're feeling?
how your days were, how your
How do you
month
measure
was.
it? Yeah.
I don't know. I can feel if I'm productive or not productive, just mentally. Like today, since I got out of bed late, I'm just not
I
mentally
think at the
there.
end of every day too, you can take a journal entry.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I felt good.
vlog entry.
I fell asleep quickly last night. I did. Like, you can do kind of a quick.
You put it on your video maybe.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
my video is going to be like 10, 12 minutes long,
Yeah.
documenting everything.
Cool.
Love it. Love it. What I'm gonna do is you actually kind of talked about it. I'm gonna do the same guy. What's his name?
Andrew Huberman.
Andrew Huberman. Talk about cold plunging. Everybody talks about cold plunging
Yeah,
now.
it's like
Joe Rogan does it.
everyone does it. It's the Ed Milet does it.
Where you
It's
like
the
break
hack.
the ice on top of the
Yeah.
tub of water and jump in it. How long are you supposed to stay in it?
I don't know. It depends on your guy.
Depends on who you're listening to. But it's supposed to have a ton of benefits. And I feel like mentally, I just need something to just
Shock your system.
push me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm starting to coast, starting to drift in my
Starting to
life
drift,
right now.
Outwitting the devil.
Yeah. So I'm looking for something just to like change things up, do something out of my comfort zone that's way not what I want to be doing. So what I'm gonna do is it's snowing right now. We live in Utah, and it's weird because it's February, end of February,
Yeah.
and we're getting snowstorms like crazy. So I'm gonna get a big tub, like a big old bin that I can fit into, fill it up with water with the hose, put it in the backyard, let it freeze. It's probably gonna
It'll ice over.
it'll be too cold. Like it'll be too.
It's supposed to ice is ice.
Will the whole thing freeze though?
not overnight.
How cold it
No.
is?
Not overnight.
As long as you
The
just keep
top would
breaking
probably
it.
freeze
Yeah.
in this weather right now.
Is that going to be too cold? Because they say not to start that cold.
Yeah,
but you got like
just
a
start
heart
yo-
attack.
YOLO. You're not gonna have a heart.
That's what they say.
Really?
That's what he said. He said that where you're supposed to do it is where it's uncomfortable for your body, but it's safe. So you're not just going to die.
That's the
Does
case.
he
Then
just
just
say
start in
that
the
so he
bath.
can't get sued?
I don't know, probably.
Yeah.
But then you
just
see
do it, man.
You see the videos of people doing it. They have to like break the ice and they jump in it, and that's
don't
what
think-
that's
don't-
what I envision.
You'll be fine.
Okay, I'm going to do that. So the health
For
benefits
30 days.
For 30 days, I'm going to do this for 30 days. Well, we'll see. Just kidding. I'm
No, you
committing.
got
You
it.
got it.
I'm committing.
And you're documenting
That's the
it.
challenge.
So the benefits that I'm expecting are, one is resilience training. So from what they've observed is like, as you do this consistently, your brain and body don't want to do it, right? Because
That's
it
what
hurts.
he talked about, the cold shower in his morning routine. Why he does the cold shower, which is probably the same.
Yeah. It's so you're basically training your resilience center of your brain. And so that way when you meet obstacles in your day-to-day life and in my work and in anything we do in your relationships, instead of being reactive, your resilience is supposed to skyrocket. And so you can now receive bad information and not react to it and just kind of process it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the biggest things that you're going to see, and you're supposed to see it fairly quickly. The next thing is going to be to reduce inflammation. So I'm hoping this jump starts me going back to the gym. But reduce inflammation. It also builds your immune function. So like your immune system will, like the functionality of it will increase. So you're not supposed to get as sick. Your white blood cells are supposed to increase by doing this. And the other part of it is reducing white fat stores. So I guess there's 3 types of fat. I don't know anything about anatomy or
This
stuff.
should be a Brock question, probably.
Or Cam question. Or Cam.
Our personal trainer.
So the white fat stores, I guess, are the bad ones. I want to say blubber fat stores.
I don't know.
So doing this reduces that, and it builds up your brown fat stores, which are the good fat stores that you want. So I'm hoping to look like a Greek god
You will.
by the end
30
of this.
days of cold baths. Greek
30
god.
days, I'm going to be a whole new man.
You could
or
create a
woman,
video
I don't
how
know.
to get shredded 6-pack in 30 days without working out.
Never work out again. Eat
Just cold
anything you
plunges.
want. Cold
Yeah,
plunges.
Cold plunge.
So
Classic.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to document it, see how it goes. 30 days of cold plunging.
Cool, yeah.
What are you going to do?
I am, about a month ago, I saw a interview with a billionaire. And this kid asked this billionaire what was the number one thing that you implemented in your life to be able to help you get to that level. And I'm not saying if you do this thing, you're going to be a billionaire, but for this billionaire, it allowed him to create the life he needed in order to have the energy to be able to go out and create the business that he did. And yeah,
Can you say who it was?
I'll have to find it and tell you guys next time, but I can't remember exactly who it was, but it just came to my mind. I wanted to really try it. And so he does a gratitude journal. And it was really, because I wasn't expecting that, right? Because it's just like a lot of men don't talk about gratitude journals.
Yeah, it sounds soft.
Yeah, it sounds soft, but he said what he experienced is every morning you write down 5 things that you were grateful for from the day before.
Huh.
And he said after about 2 weeks, your brain starts to recognize in the moment things you're grateful for.
I kind of want to start
So
doing
you
that.
react differently to things. So for example, and this is not a Brock, my thing, right? But just to give an example, let's say you're doing something, your spouse, your kid does something that really bugs you, right? In this scenario, after 2 weeks of writing down 3 things you're grateful for, in the moment of your wife or your spouse or the kid or your work partner doing that thing, your brain should be able to start to recognize the grateful things you have of that person instead of letting that thing bother you.
Interesting. So, like, in the moment, if your spouse or kid does something that bugs you, instead of freaking out, you'd be like, man, I'm just grateful I have a kid.
Yeah, he said after about 2 weeks, his brain started thinking in gratitude versus reaction.
Well, you sent a really cool text or whatever. I think it was a text when you talked about how messy your basement was from your kids. And you changed
yeah,
your
I love
perspective.
that.
Usually it's like, it's such a mess. But I don't know. Walk us through your
it
perspective.
was a quote by Thomas Monson.
Thomas Monson. Look him up. Like, holy cow.
Yeah.
It makes me cry every single night. So me and my wife, we're cleaning up the basement. The kids just moved in down there, apparently. we have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old that just run wild down there. And all their toys were out. It was a complete mess. We started cleaning it up. We were both super overwhelmed. My wife especially was overwhelmed with it. And for some reason, this snip of a talk that I heard a long time ago, like 10 years ago, I don't know when it was, popped in my head. And I looked it up. And for some reason, that little clip was already like just that segment of what I was looking for. I showed it to my wife.
Yeah.
And it was Thomas S. Monson talking about be grateful for the little fingerprints left behind, the toys you have to clean up,
Dang.
the paint stains or the dirty piles of dirty laundry, the overwhelm. because those days go so fast,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
you lose those days.
Mhm.
So
And
be-
when you lose those, you're gonna wish you had them back. It's just crazy to see how fast your kids grow up.
how powerful
Well,
is that?
going along those same lines,
But
like,
but hold on,
okay.
before that, like as soon as we watched that, and we just barely started cleaning the basement. This thing took us like 2 hours to clean up. There's so many toys and stuff. After watching that, we were both just sobbing as we're
Yeah.
cleaning up. We were like,
You're happy to clean up instead of remorseful to clean up.
100%.
Wow.
Like my entire mind and heart completely changed from like irritated with my kids or just stressed out. Life is so hard to like, man, how many times do I get to clean up my kids' toys before they're
out of the house.
don't play with toys
Grown up.
anymore?
Right.
Like you don't have much time.
No, that's a
Wow.
good point.
So just like that shift.
Yeah.
I don't know what we were talking about, but
The gratitude.
the gratitude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the gratitude. That completely changes your mindset and
Yeah.
how you deal with, because life's not going to change. No matter what, you're going to have all the hard things coming at you, but it's how your perspective.
Yeah, it's how
I think that's
you,
what changes
you change.
everything. It's you.
And
It's you.
that's the beautiful thing that I find in personal development, for example, right? Is there's one common denominator of every single situation in your life. You.
Exactly.
Like that's the only common denominator is you. And so a lot of people that brings a lot of overwhelm because it's like, holy flip, like it's up to me. But if you flip it and be like, look,
It's up to
how
me.
cool is that? You
Yeah.
literally have the power to
You're in
change
control.
any situation you want. Anyone.
Yeah.
You have the ability to do that
No
if
matter
you
your
want.
circumstances.
Yeah, no matter what.
Everyone's life's super hard.
Exactly.
Everybody.
Everyone has their really hard parts of their life, but you have the choice how to react to those things. So I'm hoping that through this challenge, 30-day challenge of every morning, 3 to 5 things that I was grateful for the day before will start to help me see in the moment gratitude. Because I really
love
do
that.
believe that'll lead to more joy,
That is- I
happiness,
almost
and
wanna do
passion.
that
Can we do
challenge.
can we do multiple
My
challenges
next
at
30-day
once?
challenge will be that.
Do it.
That's
But-
awesome.
So that's the one I'm gonna give
I
it a
love
go.
that.
Yeah.
Very cool. And we're just gonna document it.
Yep. So the next 30 days we're gonna document those.
All right, guys. Thanks for being
All
with
right,
us.
thanks for
Thanks so
joining
much.
us.
Peace. See you guys next time.
Salud.
Saludos.